Hello, morning. Hello. Hi, morning.
Can
How
you
are
hear
you?
me now? I'm fine, thank you, Martin.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just trying to get the sound
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Nice. Pleasure to meet up.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you too, Martin.
You look quite different from your picture. That must have been taken quite a while.
Yeah, true.
Someone saw the flyer and they're like, Martin, are you targeting only beautiful ladies or what's up?
Who is that person? Who is that person?
It's one of the HR professionals. They just someone in one of the groups we have. Someone just commented that.
Oh, really?
I'm just trying to get rid of something here.
Okay.
My screen, I just wanted to make it a little bit tight. Or I can just do without let me just do without the screen. Let me just remove the screen. We see how it looks like. It's just a plain color.
Okay.
Virtual background. No, it doesn't look very nice. It doesn't.
Which one?
The green.
Yours.
It doesn't. The color doesn't look very nice. Let me just do the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. At least your wall is one color. It's brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When you said you were prepared, you weren't kidding.
I've been here for the last 30 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I did was, let me just switch on the lights just for a minute. So what I've done is I've done a dummy employee engagement survey on poll.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I think that's the best way to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are about just 10 questions. I've done the agree, the disagree, strongly disagree, agree. Then the third one is just something just to throw people off, like if I can just share it. It's just like I think one of the question was I'm hardly I am always something like, let me just read it for you. One of the poll questions. Oh.
Okay.
Whoa, what happened to my poll? It's not there. Let me just see. Sorry. That would be so bad. I have no poll.
You can quickly design 3 questions, Martin.
Right?
You don't have to stress yourself. You can quickly actually develop 3 questions.
Okay. Which one do I pick? Because I had a set of 10 questions, or I had exceeded the limit. Or we can.
You can actually ask them if they've run a survey before.
Okay. Okay. So let's say one have a intro. Okay, I have run a.
Or maybe ask them if they know what employee engagement is, if they've run a survey before.
I know what employee engagement is. So I'll just do yes, no. Yes, no. I think I do. I think I know, right? Then, okay, then my company
has your organization run an engagement survey before? Yes, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Now there's a people run employee satisfaction surveys, And
Yeah.
okay, maybe what we can do is, my organization has run an employee engagement survey.
Yeah.
So we'll have yes, no, and I feel so bad about what are you talking about?
I always see this other option of what are you talking about?
Yeah. Then I want to run, right? This thing,
Yeah.
an employee satisfaction survey. Um, an employee satisfaction survey is the same as an employee engagement. Is one and the same thing as employee engagement survey.
You are bringing in a yes or no there.
Yes, just a yes or no.
Mm.
Oh yeah, no. So we can have yes and no. Yes, no. It's just English.
Yeah.
Hmm? Okay. So, and I think this will be the guys who are totally confused of the three categories. Yeah, the one who go like it's just English. Okay, so we have three questions, which is okay. Oh yeah, they didn't save. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we are set. Let me see. Okay, we have about 6 people. Let me look for Deborah.
Okay.
Okay, so trying to get hold of Deborah.
Okay.
Okay, I need to finish something also I was working on. The presentation for the opening presentation.
Okay.
Okay. I woke up early, then I went back to sleep.
Really? Are you on lockdown?
No, we're not on lockdown. Oh yeah, we have a curfew. We have a curfew, but it's no. I lost internet, right? I lost internet, and then I couldn't. So when I couldn't work, I just went back to sleep. Because the other option was to go to office, but it was too early. It was a bit early. So I just decided, let me sleep in.
Yeah.
You know, but it was worthwhile. The kids woke me up, so I was like, okay, at least they can't say they didn't see me today. Oh, tell me. Yeah?
Yeah.
This might be. When you're from Kenya, you're a Kenyan. When you're from Botswana, you are.
We don't have this thing as like a Kenyan or a Botswananian. You're just from Botswana.
No,
You're not South African. You're not Kenyan. You're not Malawian. But you're just from Botswana.
Well, how true is that? Because that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't even say it. I mean, you can't even say somebody is a Botswanian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just tie up this.
Okay.
I just need to get you to put in your profile.
Okay.
Just plugging in.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay. It's just a simple thing we just do. I'm just inputting the profile.
Okay.
And then doing the picture.
Okay. Where is Deborah?
I've just sent her a message. I just want to check if she's joined us. She should be with us. I need, your profile is very long. Let me just see what I do about it. Let me just check if Deborah is here. Okay. Okay, she's here.
Hey, Deborah.
Let me
She's
unmute
connecting.
her. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Deborah, welcome in.
Hi there, Martin. How are you?
Fine, thank you, and welcome very much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Gopolang. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. I just want to get away from my children and all the madness. We have a new puppy in our house, so you can imagine.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
The excitement because there's a new puppy.
Yeah.
So yeah, every day is an adventure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Martin, are we going to go on live as our pictures, as the way Deborah has done it, or you're going to put up our pictures?
Which one do you want? It's very open. Yeah.
How should we do it, Deborah?
For me,
I'm gonna turn my video on now. I just I wasn't. There we go.
Okay.
But I've got a weird background, so I can actually. I always look like a weird apparition. No, I look like a weird apparition to myself when I have a virtual background. I look like a weird robot, and like parts of my face are like faded out. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So no, I think people probably like seeing our faces. Can you guys see me okay? Because I'm dialing in from my mobile, so yeah.
Okay, so I will be in and out for purposes of anything in the we'll need to do anything back end. I'm just trying to set up.
How is the audio though? Is it super?
Yeah, the audio is good.
Deborah, can you hear me perfectly?
I can hear you very, very well, Gopolang.
Okay,
And I must tell you,
okay.
I love your background.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
like a pinkish red. I love that color.
Oh, thank you very much, my dear.
Okay, I'm just trying to get on my second desktop here. Sorry. Okay. So I'm just setting up my second unit. I've just done that, so I think we're good to roll. We're a few minutes late. We have 20 people waiting. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make you one of you co-host. My team is stuck in something. Let me just make you guys co-host, just in case my net goes off. We still have control. Okay. Okay, let me just start screen this. Okay, Deborah, okay, let me just do one thing. I don't know how we got late in this. Deborah, I'm just
But there's always just a,
I'm just sticking your bio in there, right?
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah, then I open the session. I'll just do the short bio part, yeah?
Okay, no problem.
And then we're good to go. Okay, just changing the picture. So it'll just be a discussion. Don't worry about what. Then it's just lead and follow.
Okay.
Yes, just lead and follow. So I think we're good.
Deborah, please, when I'm stuck, you take over, okay?
Yes, I think let's just hear what people ask us and what their challenges are, and you know, yeah, let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm just looking. Okay, I think I'm good to go. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think we are good to go. So let me just start with the screen share. Okay.
Something's happening.
Yes. Okay, so this is what we start off with. We have 32 people already in the room waiting. Okay, so we're good. We are ready to roll. I think we'll have a nice, let me just, okay. So we have about 32 people in the waiting room. I need to make one of you co-host. So Deborah, just in case, yeah, let me also make everyone here co-host just in case. You never know, right?
Okay.
Just as a backup feature, right? Okay. Okay. Just my backup is having an issue, and then I can open the guy for guys. Okay. 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 So Okay, so I think I'll do what? I need to put the volume up. You can hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, then I think we are ready to roll. Let me just let everybody in. Let me just move this somewhere I can manage control. Okay, slideshow. Okay, so then we'll just run quickly through this. Then we are good to go. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Martin Wanjohi, and today's session, we're going to be looking at employee engagement. We're going to be looking at employee engagement, and I just want to introduce our today's panelist and the session. Okay, welcome everyone. If you can hear us, kindly type on chat yes, and also share with us which country you're joining us from. Kindly share on chat which country you're joining us from, and we thank you for joining us this morning. So on chat, let's see where you're joining us from. Okay, Kenya. I'm seeing Kenya. Okay, Kenya, I'm seeing Kenya. Let's just see. Lagos, thank you. Welcome very much. So today, South Africa, thank you very much. Deborah, okay. Nigeria, I think we have a nice mix of people. Now, today's session is going to be on employee engagement. Just some quick housekeeping. You can use chat to chat where there is more. You click on that and then you'll find chat. And then your audio, kindly let's have everyone's audio off and then interact. So today's panelist is a mix, one from Botswana, Gopolang Mositwane. I hope I got that pronunciation right.
Sure, Martin.
And I was told I can't say that we have a bot for someone from Botswana is someone from Botswana, not a bot. Deborah from South Africa, welcome very much.
Thank you so much, Martin.
Yes. So, Gopolang, I'd like to, I've put on screen your profile, but you can just share with the audience, who exactly are you?
Thank you, Martin. Let me introduce myself once more. I am Gopolang Mositwane. My name is pronounced Gopolang, and it actually means, in English, it actually means in remembrance of something. In terms of my career-wise, I'm currently a practicing HR manager at Legal Aid Botswana. I've been in HR for almost 15 years now. Bulk of the years I've spent in a generalist environment. And in the last 5 years, I've been in organizational development. And this is where I developed a strong passion for engagement and performance. I've worked in various industries. I'm currently working in a legal entity. I've previously worked in a statistical agency, a tax administration environment, aviation, and in the general, I'm very passionate about people matters. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much. Just to ensure everyone can see my screen, I'm having problems of a little bit of eyesight. Deborah, thank you. Welcome very much. I've just put up your profile. I hope everyone can see it, and then you can just tell us, who is Deborah?
Well, I mean, I could tell you who I am, or I could tell you what I do. Oh, yeah. So who I am is that I'm a mom of 2 children, and I've been married for 12 years. And yes, I'm your friendly suburban Johannesburg mom. And I have been working in HR for about 20 years now, much like Gopolang actually. Gopolang, I come from an employee relations background and from hardcore litigation. And I think anyone who knows anything about HR in Africa knows that South Africa has got some very robust employment laws. And I moved into a generalist role, and much like Gopolang actually, being exposed to OD really got me fired up for the true people side of HR. So what I do these days is I work as a leadership and culture consultant. I specialize in workplace transformation and change projects. I work with small teams to the entire organization to actually transform workplace culture and to help digitally transform HR and really to help unleash human potential. I'm also an author, and my book, Talent Liberation, is available for pre-order everywhere right now, and it is going to be hitting your bookshelves by 31 August.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. I can't fail to notice the tattoo, and I'm like, brilliant if my mother had a tattoo. Has that tattoo ever gotten you into problems getting a job?
Not at all, no.
Okay.
I am, you know, it's interesting. I was actually thinking about it this morning, Martin, and you know, I think here in Africa, we've all been, you know, regardless of the color of our skin, and we've got such a complicated history in Africa with race and, you know, colonialism and everything. But interesting, I think, in Africa, regardless of the color of our skin, we've all been raised relatively conservative, you know. You need to dress the right way, and you don't have visible tattoos, and you don't have piercings, and you need to wear your hair the right way. But for me, I'm in my 40s now, and what I find with getting older is that the older I get, the less I actually care what other people think about me. And I would like for you to hire me for my expertise and for my abilities, and not because, you know, I have a tattoo that, you know, offends you. So I haven't found that it counts against me, no.
Okay, thank you very much, Deborah. So we've met our panelists, and before we start off the session, we have a small, we have a poll that we'd like to take. Let me just launch it from this other, okay. I've just launched a poll. If you can all see the poll, we can start taking it. It's a very simple poll, 3 questions. 1, we can all see it on chat. Just type for me, yes, you can see the chat, the poll. Okay, so if you can all see the poll, let's take it then. Yes, thank you very much. So simple questions. I know what employee engagement is. Yes, no, I think I know. My organization has run an employee engagement survey, maybe in the last 2-3 years or ever. Yes, no, what are you talking about? An employee satisfaction is one and the same thing as an employee engagement survey? Yes, no, it's just English. Okay, so so far we have about 40 of the 60 people in this session have taken it. Okay, so we're going to close in about 10 seconds. And as people take this poll, we'd like to just welcome those HR professionals who have joined us. And again, welcome to the 63 HR professionals who have joined us right from across the continent. I noticed South Africa, I noticed Botswana, I noticed Kenya, and I noticed a neighbor in just the next town from Thika. We are based in Thika town. That is just about 40 kilometers off of Nairobi. So I'd like to close this poll, and then we'd like to share it, and then we can now start this discussion about this. Just sharing the results now. So the panelists will help me in understanding these results. Deborah, what's your thinking in terms of, we have about 87% who know what employee engagement is. Nobody apparently doesn't know, but we have 15% who think they know. What's your thinking around this?
I think in general, most of us know what employee engagement is, and I think we understand the difference between employee commitment, which is the extent to which I like my job or I like the company that I work for, and then employee engagement is more around the extent to which I actually, enjoy the work that I'm doing and the people that I'm working with and the whole experience of being part of the organization. I think we all know what it is. I think our challenge is how to get it right.
Okay. Gopolang, to you, we have in number 2, we have 57% have run employee engagement surveys, and we have 41 who have not run, and 2% who are asking, what are we talking about? Maybe you could share your thoughts around that.
Well, I think, Martin, I'll speak to the 41% and the 2%. This could be that some of the organizations, they don't really understand the need why they should actually run these climate surveys. They don't actually understand or really have an idea of what engagement is, why they should actually baseline their engagement practices, why they should actually baseline their human capital practices, why they should actually baseline their human experience management practices. So this has to do with how HR has raised awareness, how HR has sensitized management, how HR has actually advocated for the need for these climate surveys. So my advice to HR would be that for those organizations that haven't run their climate surveys, that haven't run the pulse surveys, to actually advocate for conducting those surveys so that they could actually baseline the engagement levels.
Okay, so Deborah, I want to help your help in this number 3. Is there a difference between an employee satisfaction survey or an employee climate survey and an employee engagement survey? Are they one and the same thing? Or?
Awesome. That is really a tough choice, and I think the answer is yes and no. I think we've, and again, Gopolang is talking about how HR is complicit in a lot of the challenges that we have in the workplace because we don't create awareness. And I think part of what we're to blame for is that we have so much HR speak. We've got so many terms that we've created that we ourselves don't even know what those terms mean, And I think from all the different surveys that I've seen, and the reason why I say yes and no is because I've seen these surveys called different things, and then I've seen them actually measuring and surveying different things. So sometimes it's a pulse survey which is a small survey with like 1 or 2 questions, and those are usually run weekly. And it's things like, you know, it's just kind of taking a quick, it's like taking someone's pulse. It's taking a quick test on, you know, do people feel that they understand the purpose of their job? That's the only question. And you know, and we run all these surveys, but then the question is, why are we running them? And what are we doing with the data? And when we get data back that shows us that people are maybe enjoying their job, but they are not enjoying working for me as a manager, or, you know, they like their colleagues, but they hate the company, we need to do something about that, because the data that we get back in all of these surveys, no matter what we call them, the data that we get back is the stuff that we use to build our employer brand, to attract talent, and to retain talent.
Okay, thank you very much, Deborah. So, Gopolang, I want to come to you, and maybe you could share with us what's the working, or rather your working definition of employee engagement. What exactly is it?
Okay, my definition for employee engagement would be that emotional connection that the employee has towards the organization. And when I talk about the emotional connection, I'm talking about the mind, I'm talking about the spirit, I'm talking about the heart, the love for the job, the love for the organization, the love for the practices of the organization, and in the end, the hand, which actually translates action into performance. That would be my definition for employee engagement.
Okay, thank you. So, Deborah, to you, where does employee engagement fall within the organization? And then I'm thinking, as a HR, these guys came to what came, they asked for work, we gave them work. Well, why are we looking at engagement? Them getting the job should be engaged, should create that engagement automatically.
That should be, yes, your paycheck should be motivation enough.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, you know, that's a very outdated belief, and it really harks back, actually, and I write about it in my book, it harks back to the 1800s and the first industrial revolution, where people were leaving their farms and their homesteads, you know, and they were going to the cities to work in factories because it led to so much more economic prosperity, you know. So there was always like a queue of willing and able, mostly young men back in the day, you know, who, if myself or Gopolang fell over on the job or we were unhappy, there was a queue out the door to take over from us. And the truth is that I think the balance of power has shifted, and we're starting to finally understand that without our employees, our business is just an empty shell. And, you know, if we keep our employees happy, and I love what Gopolang said about that emotional connection, you know, people don't have as much of an emotional connection to their paycheck as they do to having meaningful work, and to connecting with other people in the office, and to learning and growing and being challenged and having an opportunity to advance in their career. So when we're able to really ignite that passion in our people, they reach the most amazing heights. And like Gopolang says, it motivates them to achieve more, to do better, to be better. And the better our employees do, and the better they are as human beings, the better for our bottom line, because it means that productivity is up. It means that staff turnover is down. So we're not paying, you know, the cost of replacing staff all the time. It means that we're getting a good ROI on our training investment. It means absenteeism is down. It means that stress on our employees is down, because everyone's doing their part and everyone's pulling their weight. You know, you and Gopolang aren't sitting until 2 o'clock in the morning to finish work because I'm the one on the team who's disengaged and I've emotionally checked out and I'm not delivering anymore. So I think when we explain to people in those terms, in a relatable way, you know, I think that it sparks interest in them, as opposed to us just doing what we do, which is using HR speak and quoting textbooks to people.
Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. So at least since I am well known not to be HR, I can make some of those kind of suggestions or play devil's advocate within that kind of thinking. And then Gopolang, back to you. How can an organization build employee engagement? And then considering right now, the one thing we're all trying to do is to stay alive in these times, right? It seems engagement is the least of anybody's concerns right now because one, people are fearing job losses, pay cuts, unpaid leave. So isn't it automatically everybody would be engaged in their work?
Well, Martin, let me relate your question to the current situation we find ourselves in the COVID-19. We are in a period where COVID has brought so many challenges worldwide, so much uncertainty, there's so much fear at an individual level, there's so much fear for our health, for our families, and in the context of an HR practitioner would be fear for, you know, to lose some of your staff members, fear pointing to performance issues, fear to how you are going to reward workforce. We've seen that there's been budget cuts. We've seen that there's been shutdowns in some of the industries. We've seen that there's been job losses, and everybody is in a fearful state of the mind, and this has affected people in a negative way. I want to take the audience to our Psychology 101, where we are taught that when our mind is in a state of shock, when our mind is in a state of threat, we don't tend to think the normal way. We become anxious, we become less productive, we become less innovative, we become less energetic, we don't look forward to learning new things. Our mind is just in a block. So when you are in that state of a mind, obviously this is going to affect your performance as a person. This is going to affect the way you think as a person. This is going to affect your innovation, your creativity skills. So what I need to advise to my fellow practitioners is that they need to reinvent themselves to be resilient. They need to reinvent themselves to acknowledge that we are living in a challenging world, in a challenging environment. And as such, we need to continuously reinvent the way we think, the way we see things. We need to be more agile so that we can then propose better human capital strategies that can take the organization way forward. Yeah.
Thank you.
Could I add to that, Martin? Would it be okay if I add to that?
Yes, please, yes.
So I think, you know, and what Gopolang is saying is so important, because I think we all forget the Psychology 101 stuff, because one of the things that we also forget is right now, as HR people, we're also going through this pandemic, and we're also going through the fear and the uncertainty of the job losses and getting sick and everything. But right now is a golden opportunity for us to actually focus on engagement, because our people are fearful. So there's a couple of things that I recommend to all of my colleagues out there that we can do. Number one is, you know, so we talk, employee experience is kind of the phrase that's busy replacing employee engagement as a term, okay? And in employee experience terms, we talk about moments that matter. So things that really stand out for people, that are touch points, that are opportunities for us to make their experience of working for us a little bit better. And right now, with the whole world going through a crisis, what we can do is we can use this time, number one, to communicate more. So let's admit and understand that our people are afraid, and let's communicate more. Let's create a forum for people to ask us questions, you know, whether we're doing a town hall every Friday with, you know, senior managers and ask us anything, something like that, where people can ask questions, where they can have their concerns heard, where we can also, you know, just interact with people. So communicate more, give more information, be transparent in doing that. The other thing that I would recommend that we do right now to actually improve engagement is just push out information for our employees around letting them understand where they can get help. You know, we talk about practicing empathy, and I've said this a couple of times during this pandemic, is that people say this thing, we're all in the same boat. No, we're not. We're all in the same storm, but we're in different boats. I might be in a super comfortable cruise liner and someone on my team is in a rubber dinghy that's already busy sinking, you know? So this experience that we're all going through globally, it's the same storm, but people are sick, people are dying, you know, we've got employees on our teams. We might be working full time and earning full salaries, but we've got employees on our teams whose spouses have lost their jobs. They've lost half their income for the family. They're worried, they've got relatives who are sick. So just give them access to help. I'm not saying we need to help them ourselves and Martin needs to lend me money out of his own pocket, you know, but just let them know where they can get help. That makes such a big difference.
Thank you, Deborah. So right now, I want to ask a quick question to the audience. Quick question to the audience. Would you recommend your current employer to your network of friends for a job? Yes? No? We can type that response on chat. Question is, would you recommend your current employer to your network or to your friends? Okay. Let's see some more responses. So, and then Gopolang, I want to come to you, and I'd like to for the organizations who we saw they had not done engagement surveys, would this be the right time to jump into surveys of engagement survey and into the engagement agenda? Gopolang, you're on mute. Okay. I'm trying to. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes, it is important for businesses, for organizations to actually conduct an engagement survey around this time, so that they could actually have a feel of how the employee see things within an organization, so that they could actually have feedback on how employees are affected during this period. Because like Deborah has said, so much has really happened during this period. We have seen organizations rushing to develop their work from home protocols, so that you have a hybrid. Some they have a hybrid of people working from home and some working at the site. And I wish to highlight that working from home doesn't necessarily mean that the environment is conducive for working. So it would be important that the employer has feedback on how employees feel during this time, so that they could use that feedback to actually translate the feedback into local action plans that can drive the strategy of the organization. So I would say, yes, it's important that the organizations run an engagement survey during this time.
Okay. So Thank you, James, for the question. Deborah, I'd like to pass the question to you. So James Waithaka asks, how do you improve the employee engagement, especially with remote working?
Okay, that's a great question, James, and that's really top of mind for everyone. I'm going to send some info through to Martin that he can maybe disperse to everyone who was on this call. Some really amazing articles that I found from companies who have been remote working for many years now, many of them in the US, but actually some local as well. So I'd love to share those insights with you. I think, James, one of the big things is, like Gopolang was saying, is we need to understand that working from home doesn't mean that the environment is conducive. I mean, I've heard of people who've made themselves a makeshift desk out of turning their laundry basket upside down. You know, people are sitting on the floor, people are working on their beds, you know, so there's children, there's pets, there's spouses, it's madness, you know. So including engagement, improving it seems like it's counterintuitive right now, because we don't have to be co-located to be engaged. And one of the big things that we can do with our remote teams is we can create opportunities for them to still connect as humans. So people have got a lot of Zoom fatigue right now. So what I recommend doing is encouraging balance. So making sure in your team that you create new norms and rules that, you know, home time is home time, and we don't message each other after 6 p.m. or whatever it is. That we start having like just a weekly check-in with our people, start using all of those plugins for Teams that lets you do a stand-up. So you can do an electronic stand-up where people just need to say, what have I achieved? What am I working on today? And what challenges am I anticipating? So that you as the team leader can actually help them to navigate those challenges. And then create opportunities for human engagement. So, you know, games nights and Netflix watch parties and funny hat days and just things that help people. Because, you know, now that we're not co-located anymore, we don't run into each other in the corridor and get to have a chat. And there's an amazing plug-in for Microsoft Teams. It's called Donut, D-O-N-U-T. It actually randomizes your interactions. So it will ping me, for instance, James, and it will ping you, and it will set us up to have a virtual coffee date on Friday. And it's a really nice way of almost recreating running into each other in the hallway in a virtual platform. But it's just talk more, ask people more questions, and give them space to work the way that works for them, where they are right now.
Okay, thank you. So, Gopolang, there are two interesting questions here. One is from Leslie Goliath. Who is really responsible for employee engagement at the workplace? And I'd like to combine that on how sincere is the information collected with this survey, with the engagement surveys.
Okay. I wish to say, Martin, employee engagement is a combined effort. So a lot of the time people see it as HR's responsibility to drive engagement within the organization, but in real terms, it's actually the line managers who are responsible for engagement of their own teams. HR is responsible for, it's more like a choir leader in an orchestra. You lead the process, you lead the way you're supposed to conduct your service. HR is responsible for initiating the process of an employee engagement survey. HR would lead the measurement process. The next stage is actually the commitment stage, where now the leadership has to commit to the results. The data would result in reaction for the executive management to actually own up the results of the survey. Your next stage will be the management, incorporating the line managers into the results of the survey and see or map a way forward on how you are going to build local action plan based on the results of the survey. So it's actually a combined effort between the line managers, the executive team and HR as the facilitator for actually driving the survey. So it's a collective effort.
Okay. So thank you. Kibibi, I think we will indulge you for just a few minutes on your two questions. At least they're not employee engagement related, but Deborah, maybe we can help out. Someone is asking, they've done organization development as a unit in their course. Can they are there online course? Are there institutions where they can take an online course in OD? Something that, and again, Gopolang, also your input on this is that there are online courses that can be recommended, colleges rather online, that can be recommended. And then the second question is there a professional organization for OD practitioners? And maybe as also to add on to that, maybe we can actually help in this. Where does OD lie in all this in the organization? The HR, OD, culture, where do they all lie in the organization?
Okay, so yeah, that's also quite a loaded question. I think the move is towards referring to OD these days as talent management as a broader term. So I would really recommend looking up talent management courses. There are some fantastic ones actually, globally recognized ones available on Coursera. Some of them you can join for free, and some of them, if you want a certificate, you need to pay like $100 or something. So there are a couple. And then one of the amazing things is the Hacking HR community, which is a global community of more than 65,000 HR professionals around the world. Hacking HR has launched a couple of qualifications, and some of those are specifically in talent management and HR in the future of work. So I am happy to volunteer myself to do a little bit of research for you and then just send that through to Martin to maybe just give a list of reputable places that you can do an internationally recognized course for organizational development and for talent management specifically.
Okay, and then the other second part of that where I asked was, what's the interplay between OD and the HR?
Well, OD is HR. You know, I think in the way that we're structuring things right now, all of the transactional work that we do, because of technology, HR operations, the you know, filling in your personal particulars and requesting leave and filing leave and getting your payslip and all of that stuff can be automated and has been automated. And there's amazing technology available out there that does all of that for us. So we're getting to actually spend our time these days as HR practitioners is in the talent management space. And talent management for me is an art, A-R-T, and that is attraction, it is retention, and it is transformation. So it's finding the right people, it is all the things that we do to retain them, and the things that we do to retain them is the culture stuff. It is creating an environment where people feel safe to learn, to grow, to innovate, you know, and then helping them transform, helping them become better at their jobs, and helping them become better human beings and be the best version of themselves.
Okay, thank you. My next question, Gopolang, is as a HR, without surveys, without measuring, what are the likely signs I would know that my employees are disengaged? I think you're on mute. Okay. You're on mute. Maybe you could. Okay. Gopolang, you're on mute.
Okay. Your
yeah.
question again, Martin.
The question was.
Your question again.
As a HR professional, without doing surveys and everything, what are the symptoms that I would see or tell signs to know that my teams are disengaged?
Okay. Generally, the performance for the organization would not improve. The performance results would speak to disengagement. There will be less innovation within the organization. There will be less creativity within the organization. People will be disgruntled. People will generally not be happy. Yeah, there will be cases of absenteeism, unaccounted absenteeism within the organization. People tend to speak negatively of the leadership, and in some instances, they run to the press to relay their dissatisfaction, their grievances, and in the long run, it tends to affect the branding of the organization as a whole. People, they don't speak positively about the name of the organization, and yeah, it affects performance in the long run.
Okay. So, Deborah, maybe I'd like to come back to you on something we had discussed before, the validity of the data we collect in satisfaction surveys. How valid is it, and how does an organization ensure that it's kept confidential?
Well, I mean, in terms of I agree. I saw one of the comments on the chat where someone said that, you know, the only way that these things actually work is if they're anonymous. And I agree with that very, very much. But, you know, we do have a challenge in that I think for me, from a validity perspective, I always allow for a margin of error of at least 10%, where I think at least 1 in 10 people is not going to be honest, and we need to assume that things are worse than the worst result that we get. And it's really our job as leaders in the workplace to actually work on creating psychological safety, where we don't, if we have true psychological safety, where people can speak up and challenge the status quo and ask questions and, you know, just be who they are. If we have true psychological safety, we don't have to worry about people not being truthful in engagement surveys, because all of that stuff will happen automatically. So unfortunately, yes, we need to allow for a margin of error, and we need to understand that the results are potentially worse than what the data is showing us, because some people might be fearful and they might not be responding.
Okay. Thank you. So there's a question from Cherry, and Gopolang, I want to put this in to you about whether we should do, and I'd like us to look at it from 2 sides of the coin, employee satisfaction and employee engagement surveys. Should we do them internally or have external consultants? Are the results any different when we do them internally or versus when we have we have an external party doing it?
My experience with engagement surveys, a lot of the issues, they come around anonymity. People are worried for victimized. They're worried that if it is run internally, then they may be somehow victimized, as HR maybe have direct as HR may be in direct contact with their responses. So people are always worried for anonymity and victimization. So I would say a lot of the companies, they tend to engage an external consultant to run the engagement surveys on behalf of the organization.
Okay. So what are there pros or cons in doing them internally or versus external consultants? Maybe Deborah, you can share with us. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. You know, for me, there's some amazing technology out there, and in the chat, I've posted some things for everyone to check out. I'm very fortunate that I get to work with really amazing HR tech partners globally. So for me, when you say running them internally, do you mean like you and I sit down and we create a survey, or do you mean that we we engage with a tech partner who deploys it for us. I just want to understand the definition there of running it internally.
So internally would be the HR department with all the internal organizational resources, come up with surveys and deploy them. Or whether they use external partners to deploy, but all the data is collected by them and analyzed by them, versus an external party comes in and does everything.
I think that we're opening ourselves to distrust in both instances. So again, what I advocate from a culture perspective is transparency, because that's what people want. And the data isn't a secret, right? We all know that I'm a nightmare to work for. It's not going to be a surprise for us when our team's data comes out and engagement is low in our team, and there's challenges with transparency and communication and collaboration. So I think that we need to start creating that psychological safety, and we need to shy away from this thing that it's HR's responsibility. It's everyone's responsibility, and people want to own their data, and they need to own their data, and they need to own the actions that they're going to take to improve their data, because ultimately engagement is every single person's job. Improving culture is every single person's job. So for me, I'm a big fan of transparency with the data, and of, sharing the data with the team and saying, even if I am from HR, to say, hey guys, here's the data for your team. And this is what the stuff looks like. And, let's see what we're going to work on and how we're going to improve this for you. And again, HR Tech enables us to actually do that, to share team by team, department by department. I think it's also, we lose a valuable opportunity to learn from other more successful teams when HR is holding on to the data.
Thank you very much. Gopolang, I want to come to you. And this deviates a little bit from employee engagement, but leads us back there. Is it that organizations that are very deliberate in their strategy are the ones who actually end up discovering the need for employee engagement, and get to track it as data, one of the key of data to track? So what I'm asking is, in your experience, have you found any relationship between strategy and this is where the organization has done its strategy, cascaded and everything, and they know what data they want to collect, and then them adapting a focused employee engagement programs, or making employee engagement a priority? Is there any relationship?
Yes, Martin, there's a positive relationship between strategy and employee engagement. Employees that have been involved in the development of the strategy are actually empowered, are actually motivated to actually deliver, because they've been part of the development of the key performance indicators for the work line. So I would say there's a positive relationship between strategy and employee engagement. People who know the direction of the organization, who know the future aspiration of the organization, who know the deliverables that are expected out of the teams, out of the departments, they tend to be more focused than those who are not engaged. They know the direction which the company wants to take. They know the future aspirations of the company. They have participated in setting the key performance indicators that have performance for that team. So I would say there's a positive relationship between strategy, implementation, and employee engagement. Okay.
So I'm seeing there's a nice discussion going on chat. Participants, you can check that out. So Deborah, as we have about 6 minutes before we close, what do you see, and again, question to both panelists, what do you see the future of employee engagement in the continent?
Oh, I think we have, here in Africa, we've got so much work to do from an employee engagement perspective, because I think a lot of our approaches are still so rooted in that 1800s mentality that there's a queue of able-bodied young people waiting out the door. So I think we've got a lot of work to do in terms of A, understanding the true value of our employees, B, like Gopolang has said, linking that value of our employees and their contribution to our actual organizational performance and bottom line and our survival as an employer. And then in terms of the future of employee engagement, you know, I think we're a little bit behind, like the UK, for instance, and most of Europe in this sense. And I think we need to crawl before we can walk. So I think we need to start by creating more transparency and doing these things more regularly. So you guys will see on the chat, I've said I'm a fan of doing this once per quarter. And if we use the right tools, and I've mentioned 3 specific tools that I think everyone on the call will love. If we use the right tools, we can literally pinpoint per team and per manager where the problems are. And using that data, getting it on a quarterly basis, and then using our skills as HR from a coaching perspective. And, you know, we like to put people on performance improvement plans, but it's never about these things. The performance is never about improving relationships and culture in your team. So if you get this data on me now, you know, you can put me on a 90-day improvement plan, and Gopolang can be working with me and say, right, Debbie, we need to work on your approachability and your transparency in your team and on how regularly you give feedback. You know, those are specific outcomes and goals. And Gopolang can coach me to do that. And then you measure me again in a quarter. You know, I think the mistake that we make if we even do any kind of employee engagement survey is it happens once a year. It takes months for us to get the data. And then lots of times, you know, that survey, that thick amount of paper is lying, you know, on the CHRO's desk, gathering dust. We're not doing anything with it. So I think we need to start understanding how important this is, number one. Number two, we need to start regularly measuring. And number three, we need to take positive action based on the data that we get.
Perfect, thank you. Gopolang, what in your perspective, what's the future of employee engagement across the continent?
I would say organizations, Martin, they need to reinvent themselves to accommodate the practices of employee engagement. Leadership at the top has to reinvent itself to be resilient, to be accommodative of the challenges that we find ourselves living in. So there's a future for employee engagement. What HR has to do, it has to drive the practices of human capital management, the practices of human experience management. It has to advocate for the need to conduct these climate surveys so that in future when there are chaos, it is better positioned to address whatever human people matters are there within the organization.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Deborah, actually, you've just shocked me. I thought it is only here in Kenya we do surveys, we do reports, and then they get boxes checked, and then the report hangs on a shelf to gather dust. So interesting to know that.
No,
yeah, sorry.
It's a global thing, Martin, and that's the other thing that I want to say is that, you know, here in Africa, I think we sometimes, the world treats us like we're behind the times, and I think sometimes we treat ourselves that way. And I think that we need to actually step into our power from an African perspective, because our culture across Africa is one of community, and it's one of resilience, and it's one of support, you know, and that's really what employee engagement is all about. It's about community, and it's about creating a pleasant environment for all of our people. So we're actually uniquely poised to become world leaders in this. And we need to give ourselves a little bit of credit, and we need to understand that our challenges, some are unique, yes, but a lot of the things, it's a global problem. And survey results, gathering dust is one of those, yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's a question from Nerea, which I'd like to respond to. Yes, Nerea, we use the same set of questions. Maybe because you're measuring the same thing over and over and over, so that you can track changes around that. I think, so we are measuring the key things we're measuring. I think, Deborah, you've given a few examples of some tools that people can check out what actually is measured and how we measure it. And then we can have a look at from there. I'm seeing, Bronaya, to everyone, is the role of HR only to ensure engagement? What happened to self-motivation? I think this guy speaks my language. What happens to self-motivation and career growth? What if all the tools are availed, but employees do not engage themselves? It all goes back to individual mindset. So, and I'm thinking, I know where Bronaya is coming from. Is there a relationship between emotional intelligence and employee engagement?
There is.
Yes.
I think that we need to stop blamestorming, though. You know, the number of people who are just disengaged and are going to be disengaged no matter what we do is actually really small. A lot of times we think that we've given people the tools, but then when we go and gather the data and we ask a question like, you know, we put the statement there, I understand how my job fits into the greater whole within the organization. We find out that people really don't understand. They don't understand their purpose. They don't understand the team's purpose. They don't understand how they can access learning and development, you know. And sometimes they might be working in an environment that's not conducive to enabling them to be the best version that they can be. You know, sometimes it's a technology thing. I can't really be engaged and be great at my job if I don't have the tools, you know. So I think before we say yes, but we've given you everything, I think we must go and check, A, have we really given our people everything? And B, do they really know what we've given them and how to access it?
Okay, so thank you very much. As we wind up, maybe Gopolang, starting with you, your last word, and then we can close this session.
Okay, what I need to put out to the audience is that I would encourage them to reinvent themselves so that they can cope with the new challenges that COVID has brought. As individuals, we need to face reality and be optimistic. We have to have that I can do attitude. I will do whatever it takes to persevere during this difficult time. And we need to adapt so well to change. We need to see the challenges before us as opportunities. We need to continue learning new things of operating in the normal. Organizations need to, you know, leverage on digitalization, leverage on automation, leverage on whatever advanced technology platforms are before them. And we need to be ahead of the change and, you know, tackle the challenges that COVID has brought and have a positive spirit towards living in the new normal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deborah?
My final remarks would be that we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. And I would like to ask of all of my colleagues throughout Africa that we practice very deep empathy and that we start listening to our employees more than we talk, that we ask them instead of telling them, that we empower them instead of managing them, and that we create organizations where, you know, from a strategic perspective, if we just set out as HR and every business leader to create an amazing place to work where people do great, meaningful work, and they are empowered and encouraged to be the best version of themselves, we'll be doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. Bronaya, I've seen your comment, and I'll tell you for truth, managers and leadership are either the biggest causes of engagement or of disengagement. So the key thing is managers and leaders there. So as we wind up, we'd like to thank the about 87 HR professionals who joined us from across the continent. We'd like to thank you very much. Just one quick announcement. We will be running in the month of August and September. We will be running one session on a weekday and another session on a Saturday. We've got feedback from people who can attend these sessions and that would like to be part of the sessions and not just watching the replays. So we will run Tuesdays and Saturday afternoons. So we will be sharing the schedule for the month. Then and also something else to give us some more time to work on something we are working on, which we're going to share with our audience next week. So we'd like to thank you once again. And as we close this session, I'd like the participants to give us a rating, their feedback, a rate evaluation of this session on a scale of 1 to 5, kindly with 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Kindly give us a rating for the session on chat. Okay, thank you very much. So again, as we get that, we'd like to thank Deborah, we'd like to thank Gopolang for this, your time, and also we'd like to thank everyone who's joined us today. And I know we owe our audience some 2 sessions from July, I think, Leading in Heels and HR Tech. Deborah, I think I have to touch base with you on HR Tech, and so that we can deliver these sessions in this month. It's only we couldn't get the facilitators to confirm on time, but we will have them this month. So we'd like to thank you very much, Deborah, Gopolang, and again our audience. And we'll see you again next. We'll see everyone again on Saturday. And thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Martin.
Bye-bye, everyone.